Hey y'all, today we're going to be focusing on these planters right here at the back, changing them out, checking on the potatoes that have been grown for a while, and giving you guys an update on all that. As always, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you know when my latest videos are up, and make sure you drop me a comment below. Are your potatoes ready for harvest, or are you still waiting on them? Okay, so we kind of just have a gathering of planters over here. This is the spring planter that I did earlier this year. I recently cut back the petunia pretty hard just to kind of get it restarted. This planter is actually doing pretty well. I'm so shocked that the violas are still going so well, even though we're in 90-degree heat. The Proven Winners begonia is still doing really well. It needs a little bit of deadheading, but it keeps producing. The scabiosas are still going. Looking pretty good. So I don't think I'm gonna do much on that. Now I do have these two planters over here, which used to be in the front gardens. They had allium in them. They have a lot of bulbs and a lot of annuals. So what I'm gonna be doing is cleaning out all of the annuals, be trimming the bulbs all down, and I'm gonna be filling these with miniature sunflowers, which I'm super psyched about. And then on this planter right here, I love this planter because it looks like a sink with a little faucet. The violas are really starting to yellow and brown out and struggle in this heat. So I'm going to pull all the violas out. I'm going to fill it with purslane, which I'm super psyched about. And then over here are my potatoes. They're still green. They still are having some trouble. I wanted to dig in here a little bit and see if I actually saw any potatoes down here. I didn't want to leave them in too long because I don't want them to the potatoes to rot. I don't know. I mean, I don't see any yet. I mean, they could be like much further down, of course. I don't know. I think maybe I'll wait to leave those a little bit longer. They're definitely starting to wear out though. The plants are browning in the heat. So I'll give them a little bit longer and then we will, maybe another 2 weeks, see how they're doing and check on them again. But let's get started on these other planters. Okay, I grew all of these violas and pansies from seed. They were super fun. The variety was Tiger Eye Layetta. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna reuse some of the soil. So I'm going to start taking these out and getting some of the loose soil over here. These did really, really well this year. Very happy with them. Definitely will be growing them again. I'm shocked at how easy it was to grow violas and pansies from seed. Got Buffy here hanging out with me today. Of course, I can say her name and she doesn't hear me at all. She doesn't hear much these days. She's 12 years old now. I could change this out with all new dirt or soil, but this was brand new soil just a few months ago. So there's not a lot of reason to change this out. You know what I mean? So, okay. Looks really good. Break up any clumps I got in there. Okay. So what I've got over here is I've got Purslane. And Purslane is an annual. It comes in a wide variety of colors. I have kind of this like salmony orange color and this yellow color. And then I have a few Vincas left over from my wall planter design. So I'm going to do a mix. All of these are full sun. And so I thought it would be really nice just to do a mix of these in there. I like the look of the Purslane. It looks like a succulent almost, which I think is really neat. This one's just called Purslane Orange, full sun. Purchased these from, what do you call it? Home Depot. And I'm going to put quite a few in here. I really want a nice full look, but I'm definitely going to work in some other designs, like or other pieces. Like I'm going to tuck in and mix in some of the Vinca and some of the yellow purslane, because I think it'll be really fun to kind of have a wide variety of like citrusy colors in here for this summer. Purslane has like a really like dramatic kind of cascading feel to it, which is super fun. So you can definitely angle it in your container to get it to cascade out of the plant. I might save a couple of these orange purslane, and you know that spring pot I was just showing you, I might go ahead and pull out the violas in that spring pot and go ahead and put the purslane in its place, and then that way that spring pot will relate really well back to this container, which will be right by it. Hot, but it's super breezy, which is nice. Looks like I'm going to end up putting 12 plants in here. That's a lot of plants. Like it's a little overkill, but I like overkill. Y'all have seen me plant my planters before. Y'all know how much I like to put stuff in there. So spread out. I do want to use the rest of these Vincas in this one though. I love trays like this for starting new seeds. So I'll save that. It's a good one. Right. Okay. Really like the look of this. I think it's fun that I added a little bit of the Vinca just to give it a little bit more color contrast in there. And then of course we've got the yellow purslane and the orange purslane. So I'm really excited to see how this one does. So let me go ahead and get this out in the space, and then I'm going to go ahead and grab the spring planter and replace some of the violas in that one with the purslane. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and, like I was saying, I'm going to pull out the viola. Now this design has a lot of moss and stuff in there that I was using to kind of cover up different areas. I'm definitely gonna have to like dig into this to make room for the purslane. I kind of just like saying purslane. I'm gonna take off the bottom of this. Oh yeah, okay, that's fine. I think I'm gonna pull out the petunia because it's not looking awesome. You see where I pulled that out, there's definitely room to put a couple of purslanes in there. Let's do that. So basically the colors that are going to be left in this design, since I'm pulling out the blue tones, is we're going to have pinks, purples, yeah, pinks, purples, and orange in this. That'll be pretty. It's a way to get a little bit more use out of your spring planters. Just change out a few of the plants to get a new look. Right, and I can still come back in and tuck in my moss, which keeps all that area really moist. And do that over here. Okay. To the front. Pull out this guy and this guy. This planter lasted a lot longer than I thought it would. This is one of my first spring planters I did this year. And it's done really well. Purslane is a very hardy plant. And like I said, now this planter will relate really well to the one that I just finished. Let's get those out into place and get them watered, and then we will start on the containers that we're going to do the sunflowers in. Okay, so what we've got going in here is a mix of allium bulbs, daffodil bulbs, pansies, all kinds of stuff in here. I want to keep the allium bulbs and the daffodils in here. That's key. I'm going to start pulling things out, and I'm going to cut my allium greens all the way back. I didn't post a lot of photos of that. I will put up a few. I actually had some mild success with the allium bulbs. They just came and went so fast this year. I really think it's just because we ended up having like a warmer spring, and so they just didn't last very long. So I didn't really get the opportunity to talk about them all that much because they just weren't here very long. But still, I'm glad that they had success. Most of the leaves are dead. Most of the foliage has died back at this time, so now is a good time to cut them. You definitely don't want to cut allium bulbs or cut out the foliage until they start dying back. And that's a good time, because during that time they're still gaining energy. They're still putting energy into the bulb through the sunlight, so you want to wait. And if you didn't watch this video when I worked on it in the fall, I planted all the alliums and the daffodils, what needed to be planted about 4 to 6 inches deep. And then I went back over the top and planted annuals over the top of it. And it worked out really great. So now I have this nice surface, which is great. All my bulbs are still underneath, but it's still an opportunity for planting. And I'm looking around looking for my plant tone. Let me go find my plant tone. Okay, got my plant tone. So I'm going to charge the soil with plant tone. Sunflowers do need fertilizing, but you can just do it at the beginning. You don't have to continually fertilize them throughout the entire season. Okay. Sweet. All right. And it's going to be just as simple as this. I've selected for this first container, I'd be doing tinies. And these are sunflower seeds that I purchased from sunflowerselections.com. And these are short little guys. They tend to only be about 12 inches tall. So basically they need to be planted. Actually, I might just sprinkle them around. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sprinkle them around. And then I'm going to use some of this other soil and I'm just lightly go across the top of it. They only need to be planted about 1 inch deep. And then I'm going to water that in well. Let's do the other one. Okay, this one has some volunteer celosia, so I'm going to keep that. I will take volunteer celosia all day long. So let's start cleaning this out. Okay, let's recharge this without plant tone. All right, and then I'm going to fill this one with, I just did the tinies, so now I'm going to do what's called munchkins. And they're a little bit taller. Put a picture so you guys can see. And I kind of just want a container bursting with sunflowers, so I'm just going to sprinkle this around. I'm going to pull out some of these smaller celosia. They're in my way. Lightly with soil. Okay. I'm going to move these into place and get them watered. Okay, everything looks good. So over here we've got our Purslane and Vincas design. That's going to fill in beautifully. And then I changed out the violas on the spring arrangement and I added in the Purslane, which will go really, really well throughout the summer. Still waiting on the potatoes. As soon as those are done though, I will be replanting that container, most likely with additional sunflowers. And then back here, I have one there and one over there. I tucked those barrels in back there, and we have the miniature sunflowers, the teenies and the munchkins planted in those, which I think will be super fun. They're not set up on drip, but I'll hand water those. Oh, you know why we're over here? I might as well show you some cucumbers. Got, let's see, baby cucumbers tucked in here somewhere. They're hard for me to see for some reason. Oh, here's some. Got some baby cucumbers tucked in there. Have some over here as well. Starting to, oh, they're hard to see. Starting to come up, which is exciting. Okay, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Getting things changed out. You do not have to leave everything the same, meaning plant it one time and then you're done. You can change things out. You can change things throughout the year. And so that's really what I'm doing. I was getting rid of a lot of the spring flowers that grew some seed, adding more blooms in its place, clearing out containers that had bulbs in them, spring bulbs, but now I'm gonna overplant them with additional seeds, sunflowers, that type of thing. So really good way to kind of maximize your space instead of just leaving a container dedicated to one thing. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.